Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Star Family Wisdom podcast. I'm Jenna Layden, founder of Star Family Wisdom and a former global vice president for Whole Foods Market. Star Family Wisdom is a paradigm shifting podcast, community, and online school for your spiritual and cosmic evolution. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you're watching on a podcast app, leave a review, comment, let us know what resonates with you and what you want to hear more of. We'd love to connect with you and continue these conversations in future episodes to support your evolution in the best way possible. And on this podcast, we intend to share conversations, ideas, and information that will inspire you and support you on this wild journey of being human. And we're going to explore ancient clues about our untold human story, real life, supernatural experiences, lost knowledge from the stars, and spiritual wisdom that empowers you to transform your life for the better. And being experiencers of supernatural phenomena and ET contact here at Star Family Wisdom, it's important to us that we have open, mature, and fun conversations about what is possible and how we are evolving as humans. Things will get a little far out at Star Family Wisdom from time to time, but we'll ground you in the science, the research, and the information that we use to expand our minds and open to the incredible nature of our reality. And on today's episode, I'm so excited to introduce our newest instructor at Star Family Wisdom, Nadi Hana. Nadi is a crop circle and sacred geometry expert. And in this episode, we discuss her consciousness expansion and how crop circles activated her and how sacred geometry can change your life. Sacred geometry is the study of harmonic patterns that underlie and create the entire world around us. And through direct experience with these universal patterns, we can access unlimited sources of intelligence. And now you can access Nadi's expertise and intelligence by joining her sacred geometry drawing courses at Star Family Wisdom. So a little bit about Nadi. Nadi achieved her master's degree as a licensed clinical social worker and worked as a psychotherapist in mental health profession for over 10 years. Combining her spiritual knowledge and therapeutic training, she began offering groups and classes, studying the esoteric elements of awakening our consciousness. And following a contact experience in 2010, she became aware of her multidimensional nature and her purpose as a transition specialist for humanity's ascension process. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that means on the podcast today. She is now an inspiring instructor, presenter, energy healer, and animal communicator and artist. And her professional and spiritual practices really are dedicated to the expansion of our multidimensional consciousness and awareness. And as a practitioner of personal transformation for nearly 25 years, she has cultivated a broad spectrum of skills and abilities to support our individual and collective awakening. And I can tell you that Nadi's sacred geometry drawing courses have actually been hugely profound for me in my journey. And while I've only known Nadi for about 6 to 8 months now, it was clear from the beginning that we have a soul connection and that we have spent time together in other civilizations and other lifetimes. And it was a synchronistic meeting between the two of us that led to this moment today, that led to Nadi's sacred geometry drawing courses, going broad on Star Family Wisdom. And we're just so thrilled to be welcoming her to the team and to be bringing her expertise into this space and to be having conversations about the intelligent design of our universe, about crop circles and what that phenomena is all about, and how we all have the power and the tools available to us to expand our consciousness. So today's episode is going to be so fun, and I hope you feel an activation and a sense of expansion today through this conversation. And definitely check out the links in the show notes to access Nadi's sacred geometry drawing courses. You can learn more about her on our website and on her website, galacticrosegeometry.com. So without further ado, we'll get into it and welcome Nadi to the show. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We've got Nadi Hana here today, and we are so excited to be welcoming her to Star Family Wisdom. As we talked about in the intro, we have our newest instructor in the house, and today we're just going to be having a conversation about how we met and how profound sacred geometry has been for my transformation and my arrival here in Sedona, and about Nadi's journey and Nadi's expertise in crop circles and the world of sacred geometry. And I'm just so excited to be having this conversation with you. It's been such an incredible journey to even get to this point here in Sedona.
For sure.
So we met about 6 to 8 months ago, somewhere around then, and maybe longer now. What is time?
Lifetimes.
Okay, yeah.
So other planets, we're just rendezvousing.
Yeah, so we met again here on Earth, I should say.
Yeah, that's about right.
And we both got introduced through a project, and Nadi had set up a Zoom with me. We got on Zoom,
right?
And I recognized her. I'm getting chills now. I recognized you, and it just had this immediate sense of knowing and home, and that I was finding my people,
For sure.
Because when you're early in this journey, you haven't found all your people yet.
Right. Find the others.
Yeah. And so then we ended up moving to Sedona together, and I'm just curious about your journey to Sedona. Maybe we can kind of start there and talk about what got you to this place where you made the leap, you made the move here, you knew there was something bigger and better you were supposed to be doing. Talk to us a little bit about that, and then we'll get into your crop circle activation and the earlier part of your journey.
All of that. Well, I can't separate it.
Okay.
Right. So the leap of faith from the regular world that makes sense happened about 12 years ago, where I left my career as a psychotherapist and jumped into the void of, there's got to be more, and so Sedona is a part of a decade-long exploration and expansion that has involved geometry, sacred geometry, crop circles, unified physics, extraterrestrial influence. There's a whole lot more, but all of that did lead us to our meeting, and but it has led me to Sedona. It's led me to the energies that are supportive of my work here, our work here.
Yeah.
Right.
So talk to us about the activation, because the journey to get to a place where you feel fully supported and the energy you're around is a big journey. And that's usually starts with some sort of big activation or awakening moment. What was that like for you?
I know there's a lot of big activations for people, and mine have been slow and steady for about 10 years. Right. So, and I look back and I go, oh, that's what that was. They were so subtle. And the first one, after I left, I was practicing in upstate New York, and it was lifetimes ago. And so I left and I came back to the Northwest, which is where I'm from. And I discovered the festival world. I discovered plant medicines, and it was just a whole new reality. So I went to the first festival, and I came across a vending booth of crop circles. I had no idea what they were. I was just hooked. I could not leave the booth. The
That sounds kind of like an activation.
It is, but it was so subtle. I wouldn't have put that together. And so I came back the next day, and the guy was like, I don't usually do this, but do you want to come with me and vend the crop circles at the next, gathering I'm doing? And that's not something I would do. And I did it because I just wanted to be around the crop circles. And that experience, plus years of drawing sacred geometry, plus years of being obsessed with crop circles, was all aligning my system. I didn't know what was going on. I just wanted to be with them. And only later I found that the balanced ratios of the geometry was bringing my system into balance, and that opens me and my consciousness and guided my expansion to a point where I was compelled to start going out and start teaching classes, start teaching about sacred geometry, start teaching about crop circles, and then on into the extraterrestrial and interspecies communication of whales and dolphins and light language. And so it's been a journey of listening.
I love that,
Right.
because I think so many people want the big moment, they want the big experience, the UFO sighting, the big activation, whatever it is. And I think more people's experiences are kind of like yours, where it just is this like progression, right? Through like understanding more and connecting with certain pieces of information that just, wake you up enough to feel this kind of compulsion towards more of that.
Yeah.
But that can feel kind of challenging at first, right? Like you talked about how like that was not something you would ever do, going with this person,
Right.
vending crop circles.
Much of it has been what I wouldn't think I would do.
The same is true for me in this journey, right?
Right.
It's like, we start to access, I guess, like a truth or something that feels so true to us, so real to us, that it's almost like you have no choice but to follow that because it feels right.
Yeah, it's resonating with the deepest parts of us. That's why we're in Sedona. That's why we're connected, because the progression helps you hone the skill of listening to the frequency, right? Which is, the feeling of alignment, which I'll do anything for. Just aligning well. Just aligning. That's what feels good. That's what makes sense to me. And, if I'm talking about crop circles, if I'm talking about advanced civilizations, I think that my team, my guides know that I needed slow and steady. I don't think I would have psychiatrically, I don't think I would have psychically been able to have managed to blow out. I mean, I've always wanted the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
This is the right pace of digestion and integration for me. So
I love that. I think that's a beautiful message, for so many people, that it's like, it is that slow, steady journey, and that's okay. We don't have to have these major, consciousness expansion moments, because sometimes that is too much.
Well, and the time frame ends up being the same, right? Because if you have the slow and steady, okay, couple years, right? But if you have a blowout, complete contact experience, it still takes a couple years for integration.
Process that, yeah.
So it all works out.
Yeah.
And digestible moments it's been what works for me. Yeah.
So you talked about the crop circles and how you felt this sense of alignment being around them. Talk to us a little bit about your research and exploration of the crop circle phenomena and what you've learned about that.
Yeah. Yes. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. So I had that activation in 2010. That happened on my way. Didn't register at all until 2017 when I started getting back into the crop circles, because I saw one and it just flipped a switch. I can't tell you what happened, but it was obsessive and compulsory, where I had to be around them. I had to draw them, and I created an art show. I had so many pieces, because the crop circles, the genuine crop circles, there's a whole range of circle makers, but the genuine crop circles are encoded with messages that are designed to activate our DNA. They are designed to help our consciousness go to the next level. So when you begin to work with them that way, that's what happens. And they're so neutral. They're so based in geometry and the universal language of math. Again, the genuine ones, that they don't carry programming. And so they're absolutely clean in their ability to reflect our consciousness. So you can think whatever you want about them. You can experience them however you want. But the more I looked into it, there's so much empirical data that's really makes it compelling to go, oh, this is not a regular situation. This is an extraordinary phenomenon. So
while there are some that are man-made, that's been proven, there seems to be a significant amount that are not man-made, that have quite a few anomalies that would be very difficult for a human to replicate.
Right. Biophysical anomalies, such as the crystalline structure of the soil changing, just very, very obvious and a long list. So what I came to understand, the information that resonates most deeply with me is that there is a federation of civilizations and representatives that are aligned for the project of crop circles to help humanity evolve. And, the information that I found is channeled through Judith Moore, and
I just got chills again.
Right, from a woman, from an entity called Leolin, and she carries the records of Ra. And that information talks about how the blueprints for all the crop circles are held on the Arcturian mothership, and that there are certain
just got chills again.
I know, it's exciting that there are certain members of the agency that are in charge of the geometries, the engineering, the technology, but that there's a tremendous amount of effort to offer this service to us and the planet, right? This is of repair for the damage. This is of the activation.
Just got chills again.
I know, it's one big chill. It's one big chill. And I'll just add that there's so much evidence of the advanced technology reflected in our consciousness, right? Tons of spontaneous healing, tons of stories of interfacing with our consciousness, where we go and we ask for a crop circle, or we get information, or we have out-of-body experiences, sonic codes that are left in the crop circles. I'll go on. And, I would just want to say, if I'm just staring out here, it's because I'm looking at the red rocks. So I'll try to orient back to the camera.
We've got a good view.
And it's very distracting. So all of that is to say is that if you go towards the crop circles, it's like any other activating technology. It's going to take you as far as you want to go.
Well, maybe we can talk about what happened 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Oh, what happened? What happened?
So Nadi, I know, right? So Nadi teaches, courses on crop circles and sacred geometry.
Oh, sure.
Her sacred geometry courses are now available on starfamilywisdom.com. Go check them out. You can learn all about sacred geometry, draw sacred geometry with Nadi, get activated. So Nadi teaches courses, and she very graciously taught a private class for Sinead and I on crop circles. And so Nadi had 20, 30 images of crop circles that, she was showing as she did this presentation. And, we're getting into this kind of meditative state together, the three of us, and there's power in the number 3. We know this. And Sinead and I, we're still processing, what happened. So we won't go into all the detail, but we had a pretty major activation experience. And I mean, you can attest to what you saw at the end of the presentation, about, 3/4 of the way through, just after staring at these crop circles for that long, maybe 45 minutes, I started to just cry. Like my system was just activating in some way. It was like I was shedding, stuff that needed to be shed. It was like I was coming, it was like clearly doing something to me, right? And then that went on, not in that, kind of intense way, but that it went on in various ways for like days.
Yeah, that was a big one. Yeah. But as we're talking about it and you're getting the body confirmation, that's the guide, right? Is we experience it on levels beyond consciousness. We all have that, whether it's crop circles or visitations or contact or anything. So for me, it's the experience that people have non-cognitive, spirit-based shifts.
It's like hard to put words to completely. Yeah.
It's just that deep resonance where powerful things are happening. I try to warn people. I did the talk at the UFO conference, and I give the disclaimer that I've got a bunch of great information, but just stare at the crop circles because that's what matters, because they're working with you in far more advanced ways. But the information is fun and it helps, but things like that are common. So it's really, it's the geometry in the crop circles that's, facilitating this
this shift to some degree in our consciousness and our energy field. And maybe you can talk just a little bit more about what you understand to be true about the sacred geometry and what that's reflecting in terms of, like you've talked about, the universal patterns that exist and how our universe is intelligently designed.
Well,
should we go there?
I put together these courses, right? And I've been talking in a concentrated way about the geometry, and I've been teaching for years at this point. But we've got it was a very rapid succession of the sequencing, right? Flower of life, Metatrons, dodecahedron, polygons, tesseracts, and time travel. And I am so more convinced than ever of the intelligent design. I don't even really have to go on it.
Attending one of Nadi's classes, it gives me the foundational understanding that there's absolutely intelligent design here.
Yeah, it's just brilliant, and it's beyond what we as humans could do. It's such a meta view, and it's beautiful. And it's beautiful.
It's a gorgeous design.
They all are. And I will be able to talk about everything that I talk about: crop circles, sacred geometry, and advanced civilizations. Right. The Arcturians actually say that those two things are your signal to advanced civilizations, that you are ready for the next level. You're ready for telepathy. You're ready for contact. And that has been really true. So I'm humbled and grateful to be able to tune in, right? I mean, there's lots of ways to tune in. This is just my way. But the thing is, we are fundamentally geometric. I mean, everything is. There's geometry in space. Our DNA is the, phi ratio.
We have an energy field that should be in perfect harmonic proportion,
right?
But it gets distorted, here on Earth, especially, and some of the traumas that exist. And so it appears as though sacred geometry might actually help return our energy system to its divine blueprint in a way. Totally. Right. It's like aligning us to the blueprint of the universe, right?
Yeah. That's right. And it's not only about expansion, it's also about repair, right? Because this place is an assault to our system.
Yeah.
And it's about alignment and balance and harmony. So it's really our systems resonating with the geometry. I mean, it's happening on so many levels, and the circles are encoded. I mean, they're encoded with light glyphs that are working with our light body, that are harmonizing. If you go into the crop circle, they have sonic frequencies, and we know that light and sound are really advanced and also basic forms of healing, right? So they're relying on consciousness, real-time interface, light and sound technology, and what would I say? I would say communication, right? Like if however receptive we are, the circles are a level. They're a mode of they're a mode of communication.
So it's kind of like a first contact.
It is
experiment in
a
sense.
really gentle contact.
Yeah.
Oh, we think we're walking into a crop circle, and then the next thing you know, you're you're on the ships.
Or your telepathic channels open a little more. Maybe you start to access more past life memories, or that sort of stuff starts to happen.
All of it. That's not regular.
Yeah.
And there are, it needs to be mentioned that because they're so powerful, there has been a very successful disinformation campaign where there are man-made circles, there are government circles. However, the technology of genuine circles and circle makers is so advanced that it can actually rearrange any energetic templates that are perhaps negatively or nefariously infused. I mean, it's brilliant. And you know what? Just take the best and leave the rest. If it works for you, awesome. If not, there's tons of others. This is just what does it for me.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, that's cool information. This is a level of activation that is nonverbal, nonlinear, frequency-based, and the best that I've done is to learn to listen.
I love that. It's beautiful.
The universe doesn't speak English.
I love that. That's a good point. The universe speaks math and geometry.
Frequency.
And frequency. Yeah. The universe, it's all energy, right? So this is, it's affecting our energy. It's upgrading our energy. And we know, around so much of the contact phenomena that we have to upgrade our energy. We have to heal. We have to become, more evolved versions of ourselves to even be able to have that face-to-face contact. So it's like, this is kind of an effort to help us in that upgrading maybe, and repair, like you said. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about your teaching style with sacred geometry. So, there are so many teachers out there, and I think what makes Nadi so unique and special is that, she teaches you how to draw it and how to really engage the geometry in a way that's very different from a lot of other teachers that I've experienced and been around. So I'd love for you to just explain your passion around that and why you offer your teachings in the way that you do.
Yeah, it's so fun. So the course is really fresh for me. It's been like full immersion, right? So where to start? So I've been teaching for years, and I taught at community colleges, and I taught at metaphysical centers, and it's a sneaky way to activate consciousness, to bring awareness to metaphysical presence on our planet. And what I've noticed over the years and over time is that my focus is on the consciousness expansion, and that this is just a tool. And I say it again and again. So because we need that repetitive, repatterning.
Yes.
So you have the words, you have this kind of coded sonic, you have coded audio that's kind of like messaging after, how to say it. We've got the geometry, and much like intention setting, you're programming your subconscious, and it's sneaky. It's that subtle approach where, we're drawing these beautiful shapes.
It's fun. You're just having a good evening,
right? But looks like good. And then you're, everything's different. So I think it's the drawing of it. It's that active, dynamic participation, very different online, but okay, we make it work. And, versus teaching back in the day when we were face to face.
But this is so great because we can now bring it to so many
the whole
people.
World. I mean, that is the upshot.
Sacred geometry going global.
Yeah. And I'm just part of a team. Like there's a lot of us talking about it and sharing the expansive aspects of it. So my point is I really focus on the esoteric and the metaphysical properties of the geometry. Certainly there's the mathematic aspect, although that ain't my thing. I always give a shout out, and I always have either an engineer or a mathematician in the group. So I learn a lot, but my focus is on the beauty, the harmony. Math is beautiful. And the activation properties, it's what we've been talking about. It's just the alignments. And I've seen amazing things. That's the other thing, is that this is a couple of stories. One really brief was that I had a woman walk into the community college class, and she was like, I was told that I could speak with my deceased husband through the geometry. And I thought, oh, wow. Well, okay. It's going to be a good series. And she did. And it happened through the vector equilibrium.
Oh, wow.
I know, because it creates this perfect point of singularity. And
you touch the 0 point, which means you touch the field, which means you can access anyone, anywhere.
Yeah. So that's what we did.
Wow.
And I know it's so great. And she got it tattooed on her arm so that she could have her husband next to her. And then she left everything and went off to study plant medicine in South America. So that's the power and that's the level. And it's remarkable. I had a woman in this past class, and she came in wanting to use the geometry to heal her traumatic brain injury. I don't mean to oversell it, but it really is powerful. And I believe it. I've seen it. And so here I am talking about it.
That's so beautiful. I mean, these forms of medicine, which is what sacred geometry is, it's what, you know, I focus on in shamanic healing, right? It's all medicine, and it's all meant to bring us back to our perfect state of wholeness. And, you know, physical healing is not always guaranteed, right, with any modality, but profound healings have occurred in these modalities. And it's just incredible that this is available.
It's fun.
Everyone,
and it's fun, right? It's not like, it's fun. I don't know how to compare it, but the thing that I feel really aware of is the slow and steady transformation and the ease. So what I've seen that mirrors my evolution is that the classes just get more and more extraordinary. And with this last class, I got pushy, and I really encouraged not homework, but home play, and to really make sure that people were drawing in between classes, and the results were so amazing. And this class, I went all in, and I started to suggest that people incorporate dream work, and that you start to put the geometries under your pillow, and you've had that experience, but working on the subconscious realms in like new ways, and touching into all the invisible. Super fun. They would come back with amazing stories. You
can have incredible dreams. You know, like you can access, you know, this other part of yourself, right, in a way that maybe just isn't as available to you. I slept with the geometry under my pillow for about a week.
Well, that was a crop circle.
But it was a, you know, it was geometry. But I want to do more of that, because that was fun, and I've kind of not been as active in the dream work stuff as much over the last few weeks. So I need to put some geometry under the pillow tonight.
It's good stuff. It really is. So, but there's a lot of different ways to access, you know.
I love what you were saying too about repetition, and how, you know, this is also a building process. You know, we talked about the kind of major activation that Sinead and I had a few weeks ago when you were here. And, you know, I had seen a lot of crop circles and studied geometry, taken, you know, one of Nadi's courses, and then this happened. So it's not like I had this just major, you know, kind of activation moment where, you know, clearly stuff was happening, healing was happening, integration was happening on a different level. It wasn't like that happened the very first time I looked at crop circles, but it was kind of this progression where all of a sudden the timing was right, and we were doing more of an intensive on it, and then that occurred. So the repetition works over time. Like that's part of, like you said, the reprogramming process. And the other thing, you know, about the crop circles and the geometry is, if you think of an advanced civilization wanting to help us out, it would need to be, I think it would need to be gentle, but also strong enough to permeate this density, right? We're super blocked. And so this is, we're saying, the gentle way in. Some people have the strong way in, but it intensifies, it deepens, it activates with practice, with immersion. But it makes so much sense to me that they would send neutral imagery that escapes our programming, and that subtly gets into our system, and you know, promotes the idea that there's a little bit more going on. I love it.
Me too.
Obviously, we love it.
Right.
We've dedicated our lives to loving it.
Well, the other thing is, I've seen it in me, but as with the stories, right, I've seen it again and again with people. And that's going to keep you going. I mean, I've seen amazing activations.
That's why we do this work, is because when people find that like transformation, that healing, you become a more beautiful, like evolved, fun, happy, joyful version of yourself. And like life everyone deserves that. Life gets so much better. And we've got these tools to help us with that. It's so important, I think, that we bring this to as many people as possible.
Right. And then you can, you know, broaden out into the collective, right? Because I'm a believer, I mean, we're both believers that aligning your harmonics, creating, you know, a system that supports all that you can be, is the best like gift and offering to the expansion. And I'm going to say like survival of humanity at this point, right? Like, I'm not a like go and do in the world. although I do it in the subtle ways of teaching. But part of my belief with the geometry is that we can be of the best service and carry the light more into a density that really needs it. So
I love that.
That's part of what aligns us in our mission.
Yeah.
Right?
It's all about healing the planet and getting us to a better place. Maybe we can switch gears for a moment and talk about how the geometry and the crop circles facilitated your connection with your star family and how you began to learn more about that. You've mentioned the Arcturians a couple of times, and Nadi's very, close with the Arcturians. So maybe you can just talk a bit about what you know to be true about those other civilizations that exist.
Well, they're right here, right now, saying hello. That's what that means if they're popping into the conversation. Very excited to be bridging the, the galactic community. And I don't know, I would say, I mean, there's so many places to start on that one, but I did have a fairly significant intervention where I was informed of one of my positions in the Starfleet command.
Like have a different life. Yeah.
Different life. No, not different life. Simultaneous.
That's a good way to put it.
Right.
Yes.
These are aspects of myself. I started to learn that we all have aspects of ourselves, whether they're on the ship or in different galactic communities, different star systems, but we are, we're fragmented aspects of a soul.
Yeah.
And
we still use the term past life here at Star Family Wisdom. We talk about past life regression and that sort of stuff, but technically they're all simultaneous lives. Yes.
Right. And it's all good. It's all useful. But my interpretation and the information that was shared with me is that, basically we're the ground crew. Like we've got a couple of us, we've got our avatar down here, just carrying the light. And at some point I realized, I was like, I don't really have to do anything. I'm just going to talk about what I love and I'm here. And the light is, contributing to the planetary grid and supporting all sentient beings, right? We have our mission. We know our mission.
So this version of you is a galactic ambassador of sorts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Galactic ambassador sounds nice. Ground crew is also
maybe a little more accurate with
being here.
Work on the ground. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So in terms of connections with the Arcturians, I began really strong communication around that activation with that kind of an interdimensional being that really helped me learn how to guide, learn how to navigate the other realms safely and in a protected way. It was the best thing ever to be able to move in those realms. And
when you start to access more beyond this physical experience, it's profound.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's profound. But that fostered communication and connection with my team, which includes mantid beings and Sasquatch. Actually, I've been having really lovely connections with those beings, I would say. And then also understanding my connection with the Syrians and the whales and dolphins. That's really been big. I love to talk about our cetacean friends and how they are this incognito extraterrestrial, multidimensional,
right here on Earth,
physical form, right? And if we start to learn how to connect with their consciousness, that's basically a really good way to start, communicating with other civilizations. They're multidimensional beings. They look like they have physical form. They're also in contact with, so many different civilizations, right? This is what I'm on lately is we sit there and we say, oh, Syrians, Palladian, whatever. That can mean such a gamut. I mean, there could be there's thousands and thousands of Syrian civilization, millions. It's wild,
huge, vast
think
diversity.
Think of this planet. We've got 8 billion, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, this is a little planet. I mean,
we talk about that in Meet the Star Races course. So if you want to learn more about the star races and the major buckets of star races, because to Nadi's point, the diversity is just huge.
We're doing the best we can to say, oh, this is a Syrian influence.
Yeah.
That means barely anything.
Yeah.
It's just our way of categorizing and understanding, which is
But
great.
back to the cetaceans, there's a lot of research and evidence to point to the fact that whales, dolphins operate at our consciousness level,
Oh,
right?
much higher
And beyond.
Yeah, and beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they are
Much
not just at the kind of animal kingdom level, right, of consciousness.
That's part of what we've seen, right? So learning more about their genius and intelligence, it reflects our like density and where we've come from and how we're changing. And I'll give you an example. Dolphins, right? We thought, oh, they make clicks and noises, right? And they can actually communicate. They can make 4 sounds at one time. And they, through the study of cymatics and the cymoscope, they've determined that dolphins communicate holographically. And as our technology has evolved to pick up higher and higher frequencies of sound, now we're learning where the dolphin's true range is. So it's like, oh, maybe we're evolving to get a glimpse of what they're capable of, but their brains are much bigger. They're just so much more advanced. We're the ones who are,
we're catching up.
We're
in
catching
a way.
up. We're trying, but you know, to really understand that these are our elders. These are the beings that have the only beings that were able to survive the different floods, you know, and phases of this planet and phases of humanity. So they're really the wisdom keepers of our civilization, of other civilizations. And so being with them, swimming with them, listening to their songs, just having them on a screensaver, you're connecting deeply with a larger consciousness. And whale eyes, like if you have an encounter with like one of those direct moments with the eye of a whale, I mean, I had that, and it was just this series transmissions of stuff that I would never have thought of.
Wow.
Never have thought of. And I'll touch on that in that I was told by many different galactic ambassadors, right, that I was pregnant. I was for about 1.5 years, and it really, you know, crop circles, whales, this intergalactic partnership. And I thought, what the heck is that? And then last year I was opened up to the hybrid program and starting to figure out my role. Still have a long way to go with that in terms of being a hybrid mother, being part of the program to help the star kids, the hybrid kids coming in, and the frequency that they carry. So, I mean, this is a full progression into new level,
a whole new reality
that I didn't even know about. I knew about the new human through Mary Rodwell's work and her, oh my God, her beautiful work to help kids that are, you know, that have had contact, they have full life memory, life recall, past life recall. And I kind of knew about that vaguely. And then to move into understanding the hybridization program and the, I don't want to say service, because, you know, like everything, there's 2 sides of the program, right? But to learn about how humanity, as well as other civilizations, are benefiting from the blending, and how DNA is the currency of the universe. I mean, genetic manipulation and genetic influence is like, it's just where it's at once you get to a certain point of understanding crossbreeding.
We're doing it now, right, on planet Earth. So like, what's to say that would not continue, right, in advanced civilizations? So yeah. So you have a background in psychotherapy.
Oh, right.
And
decades ago,
long time ago, but that's where you started, and then you moved into this journey. So I'd love for you to be able to maybe share with the audience a bit about, you know, what you've drawn from that background, or what tools, like you've you know, new tools you've put in your toolbox to help you through this consciousness evolution, right? Because we're talking about some things that for some people might be really far out there. For some people, they might think like, oh my gosh, that's the journey I'm on. And we're all processing this, you know, in our own ways. And I'd just love for you to share, you know, any of those tools that have been supportive for you that might be supportive for others.
That is a great question. I would say that it's been 25 years of a spiritual practice that has partnered all of this evolution, right? Dedicated to daily meditation, dedicated to developing my energetic awareness, sensitivity, and understanding that I'm not crazy, right? This is one of my biggest,
it's like your tagline.
It's my tagline, right? Like, we're not crazy, we are extraordinary. And to really, consider that potential, right? And that up level, because the fun thing is I know the I know the diagnostic criteria for, I don't actually use the word crazy. It's very challenging, but I know the signs and symptoms of a psychotic episode or a manic episode. So, I have a little bit more cred when I'm saying that we are extraordinary beings having extraordinary situations versus what we've been told, how we've been pathologized and marginalized and used as evidence to misinform our consciousness about our galactic community. Anyway, that's a long-winded way of saying that where the ET contact family meets the mental health family is the point where we all feel crazy. And so I'm really encouraged a shift in the narrative. Our languaging can be so powerful. So to really actually try to substitute the word extraordinary anytime you want to say crazy or weird.
Nadi still corrects me to this day. I still have moments where I say weird, right? And we joke about it a little bit, right? Because it's just fun to embrace all of the weirdness that exists. But in truth, nothing's weird.
In truth, everything's weird.
Everything's weird and nothing's weird, right?
We'll go that way. Yeah. But you can feel the shift, right? When you start to describe yourself, your life, and your experience as extraordinary. Yeah. It feels so much better.
Like I went through about 6 months of feeling like, am I crazy? Like questioning, right? Like questioning what was happening to me, questioning, how I could even explore this in a way where the people around me wouldn't just relegate me to a certain box, right? And like people need to know they are extraordinary. And it's unfortunate that we went through so many years where so many people did experience trauma as a result of this awakening consciousness. But the expansion of consciousness cannot be stopped. And that is clear to me now that, we're at a point where we are coming together in this way to validate and support each other in what we know to be true about the universe, ourselves, other beings. And that's a beautiful moment to get there, to just acknowledge that it's all extraordinary.
It really is. I mean, it's part of why you do the podcast. It's part of why I teach my classes is we have to find the others. But in that support, we do really begin to know that we're not crazy. We've just been having really far out experiences that our current paradigm didn't know how to integrate. And in fact, those of us experiencing things have been pathologized and medicated and institutionalized. And so there's a great deal of pain and trauma, which is part of why it's so important to change the narrative and embrace what are transformational experiences and to hopefully bring them to the level they were hopefully intended to, which is massive transformation. Feels better to know you're not alone in it.
Absolutely. So take Nadi's classes and join the community. We're here together, to support each other and to talk about these extraordinary experiences and to
just try it. Just try it, because you can usually substitute extraordinary for everything that you would say crazy. Everything. I have not, except when bad traffic, that's crazy. This is not extraordinary. But in the realm of experience and contact and paranormal and everything that we don't understand, that we haven't been taught about, just try it. It's a massive up level.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You are extraordinary.
Oh, thank you. It takes one to know one.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and Nadi, for you being here and doing this episode with us. It's such a joy to introduce you to the Star Family Wisdom world and to share your light and to share your experiences. This is part one, where we're going to have Nadi back to have some more conversation and do a little deeper dive on sacred geometry. So this was kind of an overview of what is the world of sacred geometry and crop circles about, and how can we expand, how can we grow our consciousness and up level, as you said.
Yeah, that's a pretty thorough overview. I want to thank you as well, not only for the opportunity to be here today, but also for, you know, the work that you're doing in the world and bringing people together and, you know, unifying forces, right? We're so much stronger when we're together in our extraordinary experiences.
And that's what the universe wants. The universe wants us to come together in our understanding of these extraordinary experiences so that we can just make this reality better for all of us, so that we can do that up leveling on a greater scale. So
this is what happens when we talk like this. I want to say, like, go team.
Go team, go team. We are up leveling together. So with that, thank you everyone for watching today and being with us. If you're on YouTube, subscribe and like, so YouTube knows you want more of these videos. If you're on the podcast apps, rate and review, leave a comment. Let us know what you want to hear more about when we have Nadi back. We'll have more of these conversations, and Nadi will be teaching more courses with us in the future as well. So we'll talk about that when the time comes. Cool. Thanks everyone for being here. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.